So hello and welcome to Smart Manufacturing. We are here in Hanover Mess and we are presenting our vision of the factory in 5 to 10 years. We have built this demo in collaboration with other Swedish companies such as XM Reality, ABB or Sony Ericsson, and we have shared here how we believe that technologies that we have today can help manufacturers to address their challenges. As I have said, we're showing our vision, so some of these solutions are already available today and some of them will come in the next 5 to 10 years. So as you can see here, we have built 6 cases or 6 stories in which we tell how the technology can help a specific person in a specific role in a factory. Okay? So let's go through them. In this first case, we talk about health and safety and how humans are really important assets for the company. So we should also monitor their health and safety as we monitor our assets like equipment or any other motor. So we show how we could use technology to monitor the vital signs and the well-being of our employees. We could highlight the path they can follow, we could highlight risks. We could also show hidden risks in the factory or when people get too close to a production line, for example. And in the case that something went wrong and, for example, the heart rate of the employee increases, it could even call the supervisor, the ambulance, or whoever is needed. In the second part, we also talk about the well-being because it's not only about keeping them safe, but also about increasing employee engagement. So, for example, we could suggest the employee to take a break, to exercise, to walk more because she hasn't walked enough steps during the day. And we end all cases summarizing a little bit which are the benefits of them. If we go back to the beginning, we could also see, for example, collaboration, a second case. So in this case, we are telling the story of a supervisor of several factories and how he can get notifications from the collaboration portal. Here our main focus is on having a collaboration portal that is a digital tool like a Facebook, but for the factory, where we could have news about what's going on in the factory, not only from humans, but also from the machines. In this case, we tell the story of a filling machine that has detected an error, and it needs to adjust the production. So the equipment communicates to other equipment, and they take their own decision to slow down the production in order to gain time to restore the machine. But it's not only about communication between machines, but it's also about communication with humans. And in this case, the filling machine is looking for the right person to solve this issue. The machine looks into skills, availability, location, until it finds the right person. And when the right person comes to the factory, she can communicate again through the collaboration portal to all the knowledge and all the expertise that has been uploaded. Or in the case that there is nothing that is useful for this case, she could even request remote support, and she can connect to someone else that is supporting her remotely. Once the issue has been solved, she can send a notification back to the supervisor, and everything was solved in this case. So again, we summarize a little bit what I have been explaining about the benefits. A third case, for example, that we could check is change in demand. As you know, this is a very important topic for the manufacturers because demand can change really quickly and sometimes they don't have enough time to adapt. So imagine that we can have a near-term forecast and a long-term forecast in the plant, so the production that is coming this week, but also the production that will come in the coming weeks. And we could have in place some artificial intelligence to track what's going on. In this case, for example, we show the example of a very popular TV show where they cook a recipe with a very specific ingredient, and suddenly the news travel fast on social media and everyone wants that ingredient. So if we are able to monitor social media, social behavior, weather, and any other fact that is relevant, we could be able to predict this change in demand and ramp up the production. So we have the product that is needed ready in the right moment. We could also check that we have the distribution chain in place to deliver on time, because it's not only about having the right product produced, but it's also to deliver it on time. And we will be able to produce and to deliver. When it comes to sustainability, there are three major areas inside the factory. One is how we get the green energy. Second is how we minimize the use of resources. And the third one is logistics and transportation. So if we start from the energy, we could get the energy from renewable sources, such as the wind power or the solar power, where we could also get heat that is important for some processes inside the factory. Once we are able to get enough energy for the factory, we could even provide it for other agents, such as the logistics and transportation, that they could be charged when they come to the factory. But energy comes in different forms. And another important issue is what to do with the excess of thermal energy, that today we could transform into electrical energy thanks to a low temperature steam generator. And we can save that energy in batteries in the factory. So it can be used for peak shavings. That means the moments where we have a higher demand of energy that we don't have. Or for example, when we have a blackout, to avoid having to stop the production. The second topic I mentioned before is minimizing the use of resources, such as water or waste. In the case of the water, we could build closed recovery systems, so the water can be reused, can be filtered, treated, and reused in different processes. And for the waste, thanks to the biofuel, we could transform it into electrical power as well. With that electricity, we could also charge robots or any other thing that we need inside the factory. And as I also have mentioned before, logistics and transportation have a big impact in the environment. So if we are able to get enough energy for the factory, we could even sell it outside. And it could get also a new revenue for the factory. Regarding the waste, it could also be used as fertilizer. So in the farms, they could reuse the waste that we have from the factory. One last point to mention is the transportation and logistics again. If we have a smart fleet management system in place, we could ensure that no truck goes empty. And we could use the trucks not only for transporting the raw materials, but also fertilizers, the final product, or any other material that we need in the factory. So in the end, we have been able to change this factory for being not sustainable to sustainable through the energy, resources, and transportation. Another important topic is quality and compliance, and how we believe that digital ecosystems can help to ensure the quality and compliance in any market. For example, in this case, we tell the story of a person, Christian, that he wants to export a product to a new country. For that reason, the system will display the ecosystem already in place in that country and all the quality requirements for each part of the value chain. We will probably start from the suppliers, and we will get the quality requirements or the quality demands in this specific market. So the system will display for us a list of the suitable suppliers that we have today. And for example, with materials that are fertilizer-free or any other demand that we have. The second step goes inside the factory, and we could also get the food safety requirements for the factory, the nutritional parameters for the production, So we could download the food safety requirements, the quality requirements for the factory, and the quality checkpoints. And Christian can start planning the new production inside the factory with the new quality demands. But it's not only about producing the product in the factory, it's also about how to deliver it to the final consumer. For that reason, we also need to check the quality requirements in the logistic, such as temperature for the product to be delivered. After that, we come to the last point in the value chain, but a very relevant one, because through the retailers, we will be able to collect information from the consumers and give it back to the ecosystem. So after all these validations, we have managed to have a product ready to be compliant to the quality demands in this new country and to connect it to all the agents through the value chain. So as we have seen, these are some of the benefits we could get, like meeting the demands from regulators and consumers, reducing customer complaints, and increasing the quality. So one last case to display is, for example, the secure uptime, another very relevant topic for manufacturers. In here we tell the story of an asset, a very important asset for the production, that is detecting an internal error, and it's able to communicate the asset itself. It will communicate to the operator, whoever is in the control room, and that person can contact maintenance manager, the supervisor, or a person that is needed for that. But instead of troubleshooting on the shop floor, they can use virtual reality to open up the asset that has the problem, and the asset itself is telling us where is the problem and how it was detected. In this case, through increased vibration, for example, or temperature. And if we have data stored in there, the analytics could also calculate how much is the remaining life that we have for this asset. Having also in place a digital twin, also in virtual reality, we could access more information that is relevant for this case, like technical data, maintenance that has been performed, the installation date of the machine, also the operating hours, any data that is relevant. Having also artificial intelligence on top of this digital twin, the asset itself will be smart enough to suggest us different alternatives on how to solve the issue. For example, here we have to replace the motor, and probably we will go for the standard design, but in this case it's suggesting us an optimal design. And we can even check why this design is optimal. Maybe due to energy savings, because it's more sustainable, or maybe because it has a longer life. So we can place the order, replace the motor, and we have not only secured uptime, so we didn't even get into the breakdown, but we have also been able to replace the motor for a more efficient one. So that's it. We have been through 4 of the 6 cases we have in this demo, in which we show how we see that factories will be in the future. Thank you.